Hundreds of people have been left homeless following flooding in Komani in the Eastern Cape. Heavy rains in the area caused damage to homes and businesses. Eastern Cape Department of Social Development says it is providing support to those affected. Zikhona Tshona joins us live now from Komani. Zikhona, we're catching up with you on the back of an earlier crossing where members of that community were worried certainly about how thieves may have taken advantage of them being relocated to places of safety.
Certainly, people are still very scared that thieves may come into their homes, given the fact that many of them, or if not all of them from this community in particular, this informal settlement, are now being accommodated in community halls. Their houses, many of them are still flooded. I'm actually outside Nokutula Sindelo's house, 55 years old. She's an informal trader. She's lost all her stock. In fact, before we came in, she was saying that she now needs to go to town to meet with the loan shark so that she can loan money and restart her business. Her house is completely flooded. I'm going to ask my colleague Snetemba just to follow me inside. She is inside. She was trying to see if she'll be able to find her identity document as well as her other personal documentation that she may need for today. In fact, she was actually trying to save her wallet when we found her in this house. Completely flooded. She's lost everything. She says she woke up and she found herself stepping into water. And when she tried to leave her house, she was actually very scared that the water may wash her away. She was saved by a neighbor who put her on top of a vehicle. A lot of people here are saying the only thing that saved them from any form of danger was them climbing on the roofs of their homes. Mama, kanchazele wena ungithathe nje unibeke. Galamini ngentseni yangoLwesibini uthe uvukile wazama ukubeka inyawo phansi kanti kukho amanzi.
Ewe ekuseni ngelanga langoLwesibini. Xa ndivuka ndisiyawuchama, nditshona emanzini. Xa ndivula eminyango angena amanzi esimezantsi kwamabele. Angena amanzi aphuma nezinye izinto ngoba kaloku ayaphuma ayaphuma kanti ivala icango ifruit yami yonke yemka.
Ngokuba usithi uzawuzama ubuyisela ishishini lakho uyaphhi
njalo. Ndiyawuboleka imali kwi-cash loan ndifumane imali ndiyinyuse ishishini lami.
Kandichazile mama lolupho olunye uncedo oludingayo ngoba ndiyayazi uba nilale eholweni ngoku. Khona enye into oyidingayo?
Ndidinga uba urhulumente asincede asilungisele indawo ohlala.
Nokutula Sindelo there painfully explaining that she woke up to go to the bathroom in the early hours of Tuesday morning and was met with water as high just below her breasts. And she says afterwards when she left, she managed to get out of her house, but the water was just too powerful. We know we spoke to a neighbor earlier who says they actually saw her almost being washed away by the water and rescued her by putting her on a car. And residents here are saying this is not the first time. In fact, their houses have been flooded, but they're saying this is worse. This is unimaginable. They've never seen anything like they are having to witness right now. And it's really hard to imagine how they will begin to clean up their homes because we are still expecting rains in this area. So yesterday, even when we arrived in Komani, it was raining. People tried to take the water out of their homes. But of course, because the rain was still continuing, it was a fruitless exercise. We are expected to speak to the disaster management in the Chris Hani district, which is managing the support in terms of the people that have been affected by the flooding. According to social development, at least 1,000 people have been displaced by the flooding in this area.
Now, Zikhona, let us know, have there been any casualties reported?
There have been no casualties reported in the flooding in Komani. We know that a local hospital, a private healthcare facility, was also one of those that was damaged as a result of the flooding in this area. From there, the hospital has released a statement to say the patients were able to be discharged, those who needed to be discharged, and those who needed to continue receiving medical treatment at the facility were able to be helped. So, as far as deaths are concerned, for now, I think the government is pleased to report that people were able to be recovered and rescued into places of safety. But of course, it's still ongoing. As you can see, people are still trying to pick up the pieces. Many of them are currently being housed in local community halls. So we'll have to wait and see. People are also saying they're scared to come back to their homes because it continues to rain. The rain has stopped for now, but it has been consistently raining for a couple of days now. The flooding here happened in the early hours of Tuesday morning. We are now on Friday, and people's homes are still in the condition that they are in. So people are just happy that they are now being housed in places where there is currently no rain.
Zikhona, interestingly, there was a report on how people were being moved to some of these community halls and the conditions in which they were living. Have you been able to visit any of these community halls and give us an update on what those conditions are like?
We have managed to speak to some of the residents that have just returned from the community halls. When we arrived here in the morning just to capture the devastation of the flooding, many of them were still in the community halls. They're only starting to return home now in the morning just to check on their belongings and to try and see if they can salvage anything at all. Many of them are crying about their documents being washed away by the flooding. We are, as we continue tracking this story, going to visit all the community halls in this area in particular that have been providing support to residents here as they try and see how they will be able to get their lives back to normal.
Zikhona Tshona giving us that update from Komani in the Eastern Cape, where flooding has caused displacement of hundreds of families. In fact, some of those implications, as the Gogo there was speaking, talking about how she has to now go to a loan shark in order to be able to resuscitate her business.